Vaccine holdout Kyrie Irving, who was taking plenty of heat for not getting vaccinated, is suddenly a champion for the right wing. So first, some context before we get to why the right wing finds him to be their latest culture war hero. Brooklyn Nets point guard and reported flat earther Kyrie Irving was suspended by his team Tuesday after his continued refusal to abide by an NBA-wide COVID-19 vaccine mandate. On Tuesday morning, Irving, who is not vaccinated against the virus, was prohibited by the Brooklyn Nets from participating in all team activities. So he wants to specify why he's against getting vaccinated. He claims that he's not anti-vax, that this is really about his disgust in the fact that people are getting fired for refusing to get vaccinated. Multiple sources with direct knowledge of Kyrie Irving's decision have told The Atlantic that Irving is not anti-vaccine and that his stance is that he is upset that people are losing their jobs due to vaccine mandates. Kyrie wants to be a voice for the voiceless, one source said. So John, what are your thoughts? I don't love the fact that workers are getting fired, right? But at the same time, it's
voluntary.
Exactly. I mean, and also this is about safety in the workplace. This is a public health issue regarding a contagious virus. Now, if workers were getting fired because of a non-contagious illness, whatever, let's say workers are getting fired because they have cancer, right? Yeah, I'd be disgusted by that. That's the wrong reason to fire someone. It should be outlawed, it should be illegal, you get the point. But in this case, we're talking about a situation in which other workers could be at risk. There might be workers in a workplace that can't get the vaccine because of other complications, other health issues. It's a difficult situation because I don't like seeing people get fired, so I get where Kyrie Irving is coming from. At the same time, though, I think you have to take a step back and look at this and look at the broader picture and see it in the context that's necessary.
Yeah, look, I will say we're consistent, I think, with athletes and celebrities, taking up political causes. They get to, and we get to agree or disagree based on the merits. We never tell people to shut up and dribble or anything. Bear that in mind with the conservatives when Anna starts reading their reactions to this. Yeah, if he wants to end his career temporarily or permanently over this, he gets to do that, I guess. If he wants to be a voice for the voiceless, or I would say one category of voiceless, because of course there's more than 700,000 voiceless people who literally are voiceless. They died from COVID. Those could also use advocates, I would say. And look, I get that he wants to say that he's not anti-vax because it doesn't sound good to be anti-vax. I would say, how are we defining anti-vax? It sounds like he didn't get the vaccine.
He didn't get
and
the vaccine.
He really is empathizing with the anti-vax people more than those who want to save lives. So I think by some definitions, yeah, you're certainly anti-vax adjacent. I don't know if he cares or anyone cares about the label at this point compared to the other aspects of the story, but yeah, look, we're trying to stop people from dying. We don't want another winter rise in cases and deaths like we had last year. That's what we want to avoid.
Now, you're a huge proponent of incessant tweeting, especially during the live show.
I literally haven't touched it.
And there was a tweet from you this morning that I actually thought was telling, because there's a lot of manufactured chaos, I think, in the media regarding these vaccine mandates within these companies. And there's this notion that so many people are getting fired because of their refusal to get vaccinated, but the numbers are actually a lot less than the media would have you believe. You can pull that tweet up because I'm curious.
Yeah. So I think it was United Airlines had 66,000 employees, I think it was, and somewhere between 200 and 250 were fired for not complying with it, which works out to about 0.3%.
Wow, that's actually incredible, right? Yeah. Because again, it's being reported as this massive effort in firing people who refuse to get vaccinated, but honestly, the majority of workers, vast majority of workers, agree to get vaccinated.
Yeah, there is disagreement, but as Senator Nina Turner and I talked about this on the show yesterday when I think it was ABC News presented it as Americans deeply polarized on vaccines. Not really. There are some people who are against it. They're a very small minority. And America's kind of a crazy place. You can find 2% of the country that supports any crazy thing you can come up with. It's not to say that they don't deserve any consideration or any persuasion. I've done, I don't know, 2,000 hours trying to get through to these people the last year. We're trying to do that, but we also don't have to pretend that it's 50-50. America's just perfectly split. Some people like the vaccine, others are true patriots. That's not actually how it works out.
Yeah, you're right about that. In fact, look, this is obviously anecdotal, take it for what it's worth, but I was recently in Florida and I was actually shocked to see how many people wore masks. Everywhere, outdoors, indoors.
I'm surprised.
So indoors, they don't have mask mandates, but very few people indoors didn't wear masks. So I think you're right in that, I think the media's portrayal of the division in the country is a little too it's too lopsided, we don't have 50%. Like there's definitely the majority of Americans who are like, let's just be done with this. Let's do what we need to do. And then there's a small, although very loud, group of people who have pushed back against every single aspect of this pandemic mitigation, whether it be masks or vaccinations.
Yeah, like there's a confirmation bias to it. Fox News has spent every day trying to track down literally anyone who's fighting against vaccination, against masks, against social distancing. They've been doing that since last spring, bringing on people who opened up their gyms when they weren't supposed to. How many times has CNN had on a 60-year-old man who got vaccinated? And that was it. He wore masks and then he got vaccinated and that was his story. No, you don't have that on. It's not dramatic. So you have a dramatic overrepresentation of people not complying with these things.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get to the right wing, worshiping him now. I'm pretty sure most of them had no idea who he was in the first place, but nonetheless, Donald Trump Jr. tweets about it. Kyrie just sacrificed more than Kaepernick ever did. Kaepernick didn't get signed by the NFL. Because he decided to kneel during the national anthem to make a statement about unarmed black people getting killed by cops.
Yeah.
He's still not in the NFL.
Yeah, well, yeah. Also, look, I'm not a total sports expert, but I would argue that Kyrie Irving, in terms of his position, his career, financially, it's a lot easier of a sacrifice to make. Theoretically, he's going to lose a ton of money if he stays out for a long time, so it's still a financial sacrifice, but it's financially a lot easier. Also, he just chose to do it. Yeah. Colin Kaepernick got fired. He was actually blacklisted, not to mention the content of their protests. And also Kyrie Irving, like we just found out about this a day ago. We already know the long-term impact on Kaepernick's career. So look, Don Jr.'s an a-hole, he's a tool, he knows that. He knows what he's saying is nonsensical. That's his job, is to say nonsense.
And can we just, I know that the hypocrite angle is boring at this point because we all know that they're hypocrites. But you can't on one hand say, keep your politics out of entertainment and sports. We want to hear about your politics, right? Like they're always talking about how there's too much politics in like the entertainment area.
Yeah.
But then when they hear like any type of political commentary, any type of stance they agree with, they're in favor of it. Like they love it. They can't get enough of it.
They had Dean Cain on earlier this week.
I don't know who that is.
The old Superman from the 90s. They bring on James Woods. The Scott Baio, they're desperate to have celebrities that agree with them.
The Scott Baio thing cracks me up. Like he's Charles in charge. Like no one knows what that is anymore.
I vaguely remember. I do think I liked it. I wonder how it holds up. We should do a watch party.
I like the theme song.
It is pretty catchy.
It is, Charles.
It kind of makes me like his politics.
Of our days and our nights. I would not want that, Charles.
And our vaccination policy.
No, don't want it. All right, here's some more.
In charge of our borders and all the flights. Do you have to wear a mask? We'll find out.
God. Candace Owens, are any one of his teammates going to take a stance against this blatant discrimination?
Again, it's discrimination. He didn't make a choice, understanding the rules and leave. He was discriminated against. And what is she strongly hinting at? There's a racial element to this.
And then we've got this GOP hopeful from Florida, Laverne Spicer, I believe her name is. She says they let Magic Johnson play basketball with full-blown HIV, but won't let Kyrie Irving play because he won't get a COVID shot. And then someone responded with, didn't know HIV could spread through the air. And she responds, it can't. You might need to go back to school.
Okay, I think it's Laverne Spicer, but that is a great response.
My bad.
First of all, totally unable to recognize the sarcasm there. or the point that she's confirming, not even realizing that she's doing it.
How does this happen?
I don't know. There's no because it's the Charlie Kirk thing that I always talk about. Why would his tweets ever be clever or intelligent if he can get thousands of retweets without either of those things? You will only aspire to the bar you need to pass to be successful. And they've been pushed so much that the bar is buried deep underground. You can get followers just by liking this stuff. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to know what you're talking about.
Are they real though? Like, I'm really starting to question if their following is real, or if it's just like an army of bots. Like,
I think it's a mix, but I think that there are a lot of people that love those get out of thinking free cards, get out of having to be a serious member of society cards. Just entertain yourself with hatred and fear and suspicion. That's really easy. People want easy.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
I mean, I don't like it either, but.
Well.
Hold on, I'm gonna tweet about that actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.